Welcome to episode 5, season 2 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You can obviously read me in the Chicago Sun-Times. You could follow me on X, Twitter, however you want to call it. Still kicking around the Instagram idea that could happen. But look, today was supposed to be just a nice bow wrapped up on a Bulls win, first game of the season. 115-111 over a Detroit team that was in the playoffs last year. It was a gritty playoff team, and it had high expectations for this season. And then you wake up, and there's a huge bombshell, dark cloud sitting over the entire NBA league, the entire office in New York City, and some serious issues and questions that have to be answered and addressed. When it comes to gambling, obviously Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, not a good situation. So bring in the crime dog to talk about this. He knows a little bit about gambling. So you dabble, and that's fine. But I can't stress enough to people how much the league across all sports. When I covered baseball, it was like this. Stresses to these guys, especially with all the advertisements now and sponsorship with DraftKings, whoever it is, that look, you can't get involved in this world. And so the fact that you wake up and I'm trying to remember, I mean, Pete Rose, was he active when he got popped? I'm trying to think if he was an active manager. I believe he was active. But an active NBA coach, unheard of, has never happened. And here's the scary thing. I mean, the Terry Rozier thing, that's been talked about for at least a year.
Yeah.
You say what you want about Terry Rozier, but he was always a certain type of player. And for his skill to drop off as poorly as it did, and for the video to be out there of some of the games in question, and then you watch the plays and you're like, oh my God, dude, you did not get this bad this quick. Something's going on. That's one thing. The FBI, at least their explanation, and obviously these are all accusations, and that's as far as they are right now. Chauncey Billups to be involved in an illegal card game that took hundreds of millions of dollars from people and had money laundering and had mafia ties. Whether he knew it or didn't know it, it doesn't matter. You have to know as a high-profile figure where your money's going, where your investment's going, where your time is going. And so I was just completely knocked backwards. Terry Rozier thing didn't really surprise me. The Chauncey Billups thing, because, I don't know Chauncey that well, but just interviewing him and talking to him, it's like, wow, I did not see that coming.
I don't understand. I guess Terry Rozier he's made $135 million in the NBA.
But it's never enough. Sometimes it's never enough.
Well, and there's ego involved here. There's a lot of it's hard when you read these and the details continue to come out like by the hour.
Yeah,
they almost seem unbelievable. It's twofold, right? You got the illegal card games run by the mafia, and then the Rozier, and then other guys involved in the inside information being trickled down to gambling rings who are betting large sums of money on prop bets. And you can look around any league, and this could be an issue, but it seems like the NBA is the perfect place to create the scheme. Because you could hit that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th guy off the bench type situation and say, hey, look, you're sitting at 3.5. You're getting 12 minutes a game. We can give you part of the juice here, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand why any player would get involved, but you said the chase. It's the thrill of the chase. There's always more money. There's always something else on the side. And this was part of the possibility once every league entertained the idea of sports gambling.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. We just look at a guy's earnings and say, why would he do that? The problem is a lot of these dudes have boys.
That's very fair.
They don't want to give the boys their money, but they want their boys to succeed with their own money. So, hey, yeah, so-and-so is injured. He's going to try playing, but in our practice or in our shoot around this morning, bro couldn't even move. Bet his under. I guarantee that goes on way more than people think.
100%.
And so there's probably that element of it. But when you're obvious about it and when it's just obscene, like the video now that's of Terry Rozier, the games that are being put in question, and I don't know how those games leaked that these are the specific games, but the film from those games is a huge indictment.
It looks like something out of Blue Chips. It looks like something out of Blue Chips. It looks fake.
100%. It looks like, oh my God. It's like when Nick Nolte first realized who actually was point shaving. And look, I play pickup almost every morning. And there's times where teams get mixed up and you're shooting for teams and you don't want to be on a certain team. And we call it point shaving because you see dudes are just missing their shot on purpose because you don't want to run with these bums. You'd rather wait a game and run with some dudes. I get it. So it's easy to do in basketball, even at the lowest level of just dirt balls like me that play pickup. But it's never, ever, ever supposed to creep into the highest level. And I will say this, the last couple of years since the NBA has added more sponsorship with the betting sites and all this stuff, the guys have admitted how volatile fans are getting. Whether it's yelling stuff from the stands or, sending them stuff on Twitter. You cost me this and this and this. And it's scary for some guys because some people are gangsters and some people are heavily invested in this. And if you're not doing right by them, whether you know it or unknowingly, it's a problem. And so, I don't know what the solution is. I just know that I woke up this morning excited to do the podcast because the whole subject was going to be, I finally feel like the first night was perfect. LeBron sitting, Steph, not even the highest scorer on our team. They win. Jimmy Butler led him in scoring. And then yesterday we see kind of this passing of the torch. Wemby, 40. Ant, 41. VJ Edgecombe, who I've talked about numerous times on this podcast, how much I loved him in this rookie class. 34, 30, whatever he ended up with it.
Yep.
So it's like the league is just going through this beautiful transformation of, okay, who's got next? These dudes got next. And then you wake up and Adam Silver has to just be crapping his pants today because this is bad. And how deep this goes and how many more bodies are dragged out of this, it's just a bad day for the league on day 3 of the regular season. It
is. And as you said, like it does feel like more names are going to come and more videos going to be revealed. And the only thing that I think Silver can do, because here's the one thing we know, the gambling's not going away.
No, you can't. And you're not going to take the advertisement away now. You're not going to put that toothpaste back in the tube. It's
you are not reversing this is a done deal. Mm-hmm. There's zero scenario where I would not give a lifetime ban to every one of these guys. This is not you're banned for a year. No, why would you ever give them the opportunity to come back? It's very clear. You go into a MLB clubhouse when you covered the White Sox. That's way before gambling. It was right there. You could see the sign every day. It's more prevalent now than ever. And to your point about fans, it used to just be, hey, like you cost me my fantasy game. We are past the days of fantasy.
Oh yeah, this is about fantasy.
And you mentioned about the vitriol and like the hate that's coming from these people. It's because gambling is an addiction. It's an addiction, and people are losing. They're not. Oh, I took a swing at a $5 parlay to win $5,000. Fine, I do that shit all the time, and you know what? I still pay my bills and I take care of my family because I know how to balance it. And not everyone does, and that's how we get here. Just like players getting involved in this, they know it's there. They know the impact. I guarantee you more players, and you know this, I guarantee you a lot of these guys know what the over-under on their totals are for the games. I guarantee it. It's Joe, it's right here.
Yeah.
You could Google search 17 and a half tonight. And you can laugh it off, or you go to the complete opposite end and put your life, not your career, you put your life in jeopardy. And that's what happened with this gambling ring. Lives are in jeopardy here. And the only way once this all clears, to me, the only way Adam Silver and company can get ahead of it is come down as hard as you can. Yeah. It's like a death penalty to your own league. You do it, you're gone.
It's funny. So I covered the White Sox for like 12 years, and my first year was 98. That was Frank Thomas, Albert Bell's last year with the White Sox. There was money. There was a lot of money being thrown around on card games on those White Sox. 100%. Now that's a whole different animal compared to what now you have. The outside world of gambling has infiltrated these leagues. These were just high stake card games, and there would be some pissed dudes about, hey, you got to pay me, blah blah blah. Nothing ever like it got with the Washington, well, they were the Bullets at the time with Arenas and those, and there was never guns brought in, anything like that. I saw some crazy ass dice games down in spring training with some guys, and so that went on with the Bulls. I mean, I'd say there were probably some card players. Well, that's the face of gambling in the NBA. Yes,
funny that this is the background.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, with my experience, and this, I will say this, the one thing Bulls fans can wake up and feel good about, I would be shocked if this current roster or current head coach have any kind of, I mean, I would be shocked. I mean, this to me, this organization is as Teflon as it comes from that, because a lot of it is the veteran presence, and the most accomplished veteran on the team is Nikola Vucevic, who just likes getting TV ideas from all us writers about what he's going to watch on the plane. I don't even know if these guys are playing cards on the plane with this group. Maybe when Zach was around and DeMar, there was some of that went on. But to me, this group is, because there's the veteran presence is just oblivious to that world, or at least seemingly, unless Vooch is a great actor. And then the other guys, the young guys, are just kind of into their own thing, video gaming, and, you just don't hear it even talked about. You would always at least hear the secondary talk about, hot card game on a flight, blah, blah, blah. You don't even hear that with this current Bulls. And I'll say this about Billy Donovan, coming from college, coming from coaching Teddy Dupay, who had a gambling problem at Florida, and everything Billy went through with him and trying to, keep this kid's life. And he talked about that on the podcast last year when we had him on. Yeah. And everything he tried to do to keep Teddy out of trouble, I think he is as turned off to gambling and the damage it can do on people. So I would be utterly shocked if any kind of current bull was dragged into this. But I mean, I would have probably said that about Chauncey Billups too, just knowing the stand-up guy he is and stuff like that. So, and the other thing too is, we don't know, does Chauncey know that there were mob ties to the card game? There's just, I don't know how you couldn't, but I don't know sometimes.
I mean, when you're dealing with tables and X-rays and, all the card decks had cameras like that thing is so deep that it feels impossible. Chauncey's not being listed as a victim. That's from what I've read. He's not a victim.
And it's funny because I was watching ESPN today, and I know Stephen A. Smith's gotten a lot more political, but he was bringing up the politics of it.
Yeah.
And here's what I'll say. The one thing the FBI has released is this is years this is not a new regime doing this. Yeah. This is years of following the money trail to maybe even before Chauncey was a head coach.
Sure.
So there's that, and we'll see how it all wraps up. But, to your point, I don't know how they could clean this up unless they go just drastic. It is the death penalty for your career, because that's how serious we have to be about this thing for people to trust the product.
And it, obviously, I don't care if you're Terry Rozier or Victor Wemby. It's got to be regardless of name, stature, etc. Because you can't have different strokes for different folks. And the one thing that, as with the last thing I have on it is just with the way college and the NIL situation has gone. Now they're bringing G League guys to college, and you see the faces.
Euros are coming over to college for the NIL. Yep.
You see the faces of college basketball in the coaching world speaking out pretty heavily on it, right? You see the Izzos and the Sampsons and the Selves, who've all had to dodge the What?
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have had implications against them. Some not Izzo, but Samson got almost his own death penalty for sending too many texts. Could you imagine that now? Like,
Yeah.
But the reason I bring up college and the NIL is because of all the dirty effing money that's down there. And now the expectation when these guys get to the NBA that the money's following them and it's everywhere. That to me, like that funnel doesn't fit right now. It's because it feels like all of that possibility, because these guys have over-unders and totals and stuff that's happening in college, and they're getting paid for jobs that all the dirty money that's happening is so dirty and filthy that by the time they get to the league, who's running your complete filtered water system, I'm concerned about how that becomes like the next level of this, because there's going to be guys who got paid $10 million in the college game that are G League fringe NBA players here. And the money's not going to it's not going to add up. They're going to be like, wait, I got 10 million here and I'm getting 150,000 to take the shuttle back and forth to Rockford. How else can I add up here? And I think that's a legit concern. I do. Yeah.
And then you never know who's in their closet saying, you owe me.
Exactly.
You owe me from college. You owe me still. So,
and the rings, people don't understand, like these guys in their groups, they don't.
No, it is a dark day for the NBA. I'm anxious to see how they get out of this. And it put a big cloud on my Mr. Positive, Happy Feel Good podcast, but I'm going to try doing it anyway. We're going to talk some Bulls, break down this first week. And, but I wanted to bring you in, because you are the crime dog. Bring you in. When
I'm going to try to stay. I'm going to try to. I got to keep my nose clean for a few weeks here. It sounds like.
Yeah, you better cool it down for a little bit.
Lay low. Hit
me up on a text, though. We won't trace those texts.
You got it.
All right, brother. All right, so like I said, really a crazy week in the NBA. Obviously with today, but a crazy week for the Bulls. We start the week off with a gut punch, kind of, with a release about Kobe White, and all of us having to race over to the practice so Billy Donovan could tell us this.
I mentioned to you guys the ramp-up period the hurdle was on the treadmill running, and once he kind of got past that, he was able to get on the court and then start running and moving, which he did do that. I think on vacation, you maybe mentioned to me before the Minnesota game, he was out there moving around, running, which is fine. Then the next step was, okay, we got to get him in practice, which he did do. And he went through the majority of it on Saturday. But I think coming out of that practice, he felt tightness again back there. So until he can get that removed, because I think that's probably what ends up happening is once it's tight, he keeps pushing through that. That's where the problem's going to occur. So it's like when he was on the treadmill running, it wasn't like it was a setback. I mean, he's pretty conscientious about saying, okay, this is bothering me. And you stop. It's the same thing in practice. He went through some of it and he said, we told the medical staff this is tight. So until he can get past that hurdle on a consistent basis, because I think we had talked about the minute restriction for him was going to be hopefully between 20 and 24 minutes, but we're not even at that place right now until he can get on the court and at least play without any significant tightness in his calf.
So a gut punch for Kobe White and the right calf strain from hell that happened in August and still is grabbing at him and still is an issue. Billy doesn't want to call it a setback. Well, let's call it a delay. It's a serious delay because the game plan was let's get him in the last preseason game and get him ready for the start of the regular season. That game plan was told to us last week. Then when they opted to stay in Denver for a night after the game with the Nuggets, that took a practice day away, and that put Kobe now in jeopardy for making that last preseason game because they couldn't get him ramped up in a good hard sweat practice and really test the calf. So that took that off the table. But still, he was going to make the opener against Detroit. He would be on a minutes restriction, like Billy said in the interview, 20 to 24. All is good. They'll monitor the calf. Well, now he goes through a practice, full contact, and it's grabbing him late in the practice. And then on that Sunday, it's grabbing him enough where he's like, hey, I'm betting on myself. I'm an unrestricted free agent. Let's do right by me. I'll do right by you. We'll heal this thing up. So no Kobe White for at least the first 6 games. And that's for a reevaluation. That on top of Zach Collins the man penciled in to be the backup center to Nikola Vucevic. Displaced bone in his left wrist from the Minnesota game, I think it was. Surgery, reevaluate him in a month. So all of a sudden, it looks really bad. Detroit's coming into town. No Kobe. Arguably your best player, your best scorer at least. So what to do? Well, what they did was probably one of the more exciting games of the night. It was an exciting game because Detroit did come back. The Bulls were up by 22, 23 at one point. And then obviously Detroit said, hey, the season started, midway through the game and decided to check in. But it's nerve-wracking for Kobe because calves, we've seen what happens with calf strains the last couple of years. They've led to some Achilles tears. Soft tissue, a lot of soft tissue stuff at the beginning of an NBA season because guys don't practice as hard. Preseason isn't as long. Training camp isn't as long. So you're having these things pop up. It sounds like the Bulls are on top of it. It sounds like Kobe White is on top of it. But the way that the fact that that's the way the week started did not bode well for the schedule. Just the first two games. Detroit, ground and pound team, while the Bulls are a bob and weave and a Sugar Ray Leonard, try stealing rounds late. And then you go to Orlando on Saturday, another ground and pound team that can now play a little finesse with the addition of Bane, and didn't have a great feeling over it. But I will say this, as I've been tooting the horn since last year, Arturas Karnisovas, I don't give him a lot of credit. I'm crediting him now once again, whether it was through no fault of their own or luck or whatever you want, however you want to talk about that 24 draft class. Modest Buchelis is him. He is it. He is, you talk about sky's the limit, high ceiling, and he showed that yesterday. It was like something old and something new. Something old in Vucevic, who turns 35 in a day or two, and continues saying, why do you guys bring up my age all of a sudden now just because I retired from international play this summer and hung up his shoes with Montenegro. It was him, it was Vooch, and it was Modest in that fourth quarter that held off the Pistons, and really a good win for the team because Giddey was up and down, slow start, then he caught on, then he was turning the ball over too much. Io had some really good moments, but you're like, without Kobe, without Zach, without that depth against this Detroit team, they probably got no chance. But, Vooch established things early and finished things late, and Modest, I think, is going to be a problem for the rest of the league. And it's funny, one of the things we talked to Billy about yesterday is, are you anxious to see, and I asked Modest about this, are you anxious to see now that there's a summer of film that's been studied on you and what you did in the preseason and even summer league, he flashed a couple games in summer league that Modest played in. Are you concerned with now teams are now going to adjust and you have to adjust to the adjustment? And they both talked about that. And Modest is just I can't wait to see it. It's probably going to be a hurdle for me, and it's probably going to be a little knock till I figure it out, but I'm excited to try and figure it out. He's just wired different. There aren't a lot of guys that are just accepting of the oncoming traffic and failure that the NBA brings, but then excited about getting up and bouncing back and learning from that obstacle and that failure. So, I just think they have something great going with this kid. And can they now put the right pieces around him? That remains to be seen. But yeah, started off as a bad week for the Bulls. No Kobe, no Zach Collins. Both of them are in free agent years, so you'd think that they want to be extra careful with these injuries. But yeah, 115, 111, and to finish that game like they did with Vooch and Modest, have to be excited. Still got a long way to go. Don't know where Detroit's mindset was in game one of 82, but a great start. You got to be better at home. That was emphasized, and to win a home game at the United Center. Thumbs up to the Bulls. Like where they are and the way they're playing. Still a lot of stuff on film to clean up, and we'll see where this goes. But that was two surprises. One, the news on Kobe, because we didn't see that coming. Everything seemed like it was moving in a positive direction. And then 2, the fact that they overcame without Kobe and beat the Detroit Pistons. So, all right, let's go to Cowley Island. Talked about this guy a lot, have ranted about this guy in the past. At some point, I have, it's not a joke, it's actually truth. Growing up in Ohio, and don't take this wrong, Illinois people, but Ohio just has a higher football IQ than Illinois people. So when I have to debate Bears fans on Twitter and stuff like that, it's kind of like it's slapping low fruit off the tree. You guys don't know how to identify a quarterback or when to be excited about a quarterback. Everyone got excited about Fields, and I had to tell them Fields isn't it. But I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. It's just the way it is. It's a lower IQ state when it comes to football. Not your fault. You're not Ohio. You're not Pennsylvania. You're not Texas. You're not California, Georgia. You're just not. And that's okay. But you are a basketball state. You are a high IQ basketball state. The fact that there are still Vooch critics that want to pick at this guy's game, I will go out on a limb right now and we'll say Nikola Vucevic and what he's done the last 4 or 5 years since he's been a Bull, offensively is probably the best versatile center this organization has ever had. He isn't the defensive guy that Noah is, obviously, and Gilmore and guys like that. I get it. Powell wasn't here long enough. Powell was very versatile, could do it on both ends. Vucevic's offense is like, and you guys will all miss it after this season. Trust me on this. Oh, Jalen, at the beginning of last year, Jalen Smith had some good moments. Oh, he should be starting over Vooch. That was out there. Not by a lot of people, but it was out there. Then they trade for Zach Collins. Oh, Zach Collins had a couple of good games. He should be starting over Vooch. Zach Collins, Jalen Smith, Noah, Gilmore, you go right down the line. None of them would be able to do what Vooch did in yesterday's game. Score like he did early on, be a three-point threat like he always is, and then close the game out with his offensive prowess and his bag of offensive versatility like he did late in that game. It just wouldn't. They can't do what he does inside and outside. They just can't. So the idea that dum-dums are still walking around, Vooch isn't a rim protector. No shit. He was not brought here to be a rim protector. When the way the team was designed when he was brought here, it was disruption at the top with Caruso and Lonzo Ball, disrupting their guards, disrupting their wings, messing with the shot clock, and Vooch is there to rebound. He's not there to shot block. He's not there. That's how the team was designed. If there was a mistake made, I thought they should have traded Vooch before they extended him, and not because of his play, but to do right by Vooch and let him go play for a championship, because it wasn't going to be happening here, because I think that's what Vooch deserves at this point in his career. So he's going to have rough games this year. He's going to, I thought he actually played really well defensively against Detroit, considering, all the basketball he played over the summer and international ball, how he's had sleptwalked through the preseason because he was listening to his body, and then the bell rings. And I thought defensively, he was really good. He and Modest were both doing some rim protecting. But I'm just kind of tired of this is supposed to be a high IQ basketball state. Start damn acting like it. Appreciate Vooch. You will miss him when he's gone, and I don't want to hear about it when you do. So that's the rant. All right, let's go to the list. Got to watch a lot of guys from this 24 draft class, obviously last year, and a couple, a small sample size this year. Redraft this 24 draft class. Obviously, this is the Modest, Buzelis draft class. It's pretty simple. Castle, number 1, rookie of the year. Looks like a dude yesterday in that game. Obviously, he's got Wemby next to him, but looks like a dude. Modest, number 2. He would go number 2 right now. He's the second best player, and I still think when it's all said and done, could be the best player from this draft class. But as of right now, Castle's number 1. Modest is number 2. Castle was the 4th overall pick. Modest was the 11th overall pick. Number 3, he's injured a lot. I understand, but when he played, he had some special qualities. Jared McCain, he was 16th overall. I have him number 3 in the redraft. Alex Sarr, I still think there's something there. Number 2 overall pick for Washington. And the reason I say that is guys that have played against him, guys I've talked to, like Vooch, are really impressed with how physical he is with his build and what he can be. So I think there's something there. I don't think he's going to be an elite all-star, but I think he's definitely can be a foundation piece for what Washington's trying to build. And he was number 2 overall. Like I said, I got him listed at 4 overall if this was a redraft. And finally, there's some different ways you could go. I'm going to give Risha Shar, the number 1 pick overall, the benefit of the doubt. Keep him at number 5. I don't know if he's going to be anything more than a 15, 16, 17-point scorer, and that's not bad, trust me, for a number 1 pick. Can he improve his wing defense? We'll see. Can he be a more consistent outside shooter? We'll see. I definitely think there's something there. He's athletic. He's got a fun game. So I'm going to put him at number 5. He was the number 1 overall pick. But, hey, you got to give Arturas credit. He's nailed this Modest thing. Again, whether it was just dumb luck of Modest falling into his lap or if he saw something in him that other teams gave up on and didn't quite like when he was playing with G League Ignite. So, I'm fair. We'll give credit when credit's due. So that's it. If I had a redraft, that would be what the list looks like. So until next week, I got next.